2016 Chevy Malibu got a code that was related to fuel pressure, high side sensor, circuit intermittent, fuel pressure to high. And so these things have a direct injection system, kind of similar to a diesel, where there's injectors that go directly into the cylinder head. Back in the old days, injectors were in the intake, and they would spray into the intake ports. And as the intake valve opened, it would pull the fuel and air in, in a timely manner. But they've changed the design of these engines considerably. And to be honest with you, it's a really good design, considering that fuel and air tend to be volatile at higher compression ratios. So you want to limit that problematic pre-ignition that occurs when you have fuel and air in the cylinder as it comes up the top dead center. And so you used to in the old days, you'd mitigate that with open quench space, which is how much volume is left over in your combustion chamber, so that you don't superheat the air and pre-ignite the fuel on the way up. Diesels, similar to a diesel isn't fired till the fuel is entered into the cylinder, because the injector times the engine. Because if you had fuel in the cylinder, as it comes up, the hot air would combust the diesel fuel, the engine would kick back, and it would destroy itself. So this can give you a great opportunity to run a more efficient compression ratio, instead of pump gas being limited at around 9 or 10 to 1, depending upon the engine design. You can run these on up. Some of these engines are 11 and 13 to 1, and still even put boost on top of that. Like the turbocharger or supercharger. And pre-ignition is not so much of an issue, because of the fact that you have variable valve timing for one thing, and the ability to control when the fuel is entered in the cylinder by using a direct injector. Now, enough talky talk. We're going to replace this high pressure pump, because of the fact that they are problematic on these vehicles. I've got great fuel pressure coming from my low side, which is the in-tank pump, coming up to my line here. And a quick little how-to we're going to do. We've got to get this heat shield, or this, I guess whatever you want to call this thing, heat shield, impact shield, whatever. We got to get it off, and I removed the throttle body and place something in the hole in case I drop a bolt. It doesn't go into that weird-looking intake you'd probably never get it out of. And down here on the very bottom, and you have to feel for it, you have to kind of run your hand down. There's a 10mm bolt, and I used a ratchet wrench that with a flexible head, and it was not easy, but I had to reach down in there, feel for it, and kind of break it loose, and I was able to spin it out with my fingers. That got one of them. There's two, I think, from what I understand here, looking at this thing. Way up under here, you see there's a ground strap. It's going to be hard to point out, but there's a ground strap down there. I'll use my pointer. Right here, there's a ground strap, and it's very awkward to get my camera down in here. But right above it is the other bolt. I probably can't get, you can see that one bolt right above it. If I can get my pointer on it. Way up under here. Right there. I'm going to get that out. I'm going to use it like a quarter drive extension and a swivelly 10mm 6-point socket, and take that off, and that should get our shield off. And then you've got another little deal with this foam that's around it. Probably serves two purposes. There's a lot of speculation behind that, but one I know is to kind of keep it from not hearing it as much, because you can hear that pump whenever it's time to send fuel, or you have a drop in fuel pressure. It'll go clack, 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 which is normal, because it's got to keep the injectors pumped. You hear clack, 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 clack. So you want to calm that noise down and not hear it. So put this silencer stuff, and probably helps to shield heat on it too. Maybe keeps from vapor lock being an issue. But we'll pull that off carefully. I've already got the plug in. That's the first thing I did was remove the plug in. That's like, it's somewhere. Anyway, there's a plug in like right here. I took it off because it's got to get around that. And then there's a few bolts that hold that. And what I'll do is I'll stick my finger in the hole once I get the pump off, and I'll try to rotate the engine clockwise, or in the direction away from the tensioner, clockwise, and that way we don't push the tensioner back. And feel for the lobe on that little deal to push that little piston all the way in, or the roller, or whatever you want to call that, in. And just so you don't have to watch the whole video, when you replace the pump, of course you're going to need to get a little special tool that looks kind of like an AC quick disconnect, and you want to get up there, or a butterfly looking thing, and you're going to, I like to push down on that line. That way it releases the tension against the the little fingers that push out, so you don't like accidentally fold those up, pushing your tool up in there, because it's, you know, up against that lip. Push that down, and then you push your tool up in there. Then you kind of twist it, and it comes up. Then we'll take the bolts out. Usually there's 2 bolts. They're 10 millimeter. Well, and I try to do it evenly because there's spring pressure against it. So I'll loosen one side, loosen the other, and then reverse procedure, loosening it or tightening it little by little so it goes in nice and even. And then of course putting everything back together. But and we're going to see if that fixes our code, which a lot of the times it does. But we'll move on here, and if you want to watch the rest of the video, okay, thank you very much. But here we go. So, like, you know, I got this shield off, and to get it out of there, it was, and I think I'm already climbing on somebody's road here because this thing's been off, because it was actually just 2 bolts that hold this on. The one at the lower one I showed you, but this one here wasn't even in at the top. I had to move that fuel line, like, you know, not fuel line, but this heater hose here. I had to twist it over a little bit to get that thing to kind of come out. Then I got our thing off, but I don't know. If it was replaced, it was a long time ago, because it doesn't look very new. Not unless somebody was in there working on it for whatever reason. Maybe they put a used one on this thing or something, because this guy bought this car at a car lot. People all the time swapping parts around off of the junk vehicles. It looks kind of old, so I mean, and that pressure sensor is right here, and it's part of the pump. So to even mess with that aspect, I looked at the pigtail really good before I went this far and made sure the plugins looked good, and I had a signal from the computer and all, which I did, and it even did read on my scan tool pressure and all. So maybe we just got a faulty sensor and or pump. Yeah. So down under here, that's where your high pressure line hooks onto, and I think it's 17 millimeter. I believe that's what it is. It's down the very bottom. You got to take it loose next, and it connects over here. If you follow it along, it connects to your high side rail. There's no way I'm gonna get my camera down in there. Well, you can kind of see it. I usually just loosen the one side here, and then take the off by the bottom. So yeah, I've got the old pump, or the older pump out, and that's a GM number, so not unless somebody changed it with a you know, an OEM part, which I didn't use. I used a Delphi aftermarket, which I've had pretty decent, you know, goes with that. So, but it just, you know, if it's been changed, it's been a long time, or ish, because it just looks like it's been in there for a little bit. And you never know what people do at car auctions and used car lots, swapping parts and stuff. And I've got the other one on, back in, and putting everything back now. And then we're going to crank it up, and we'll run a live data and just see what it shows. All right, so we've got our system put back together, and we've got a loud bonging noise, but that's just what it is. I got the key on, dash lit up, and just reading through a few codes here. The catalyst efficiency below threshold. It's probably got several issues. The main concern with this customer is the periodic shutting down. It just shuts down. Fuel pressure regulator A exceeds control limits, pressure too high. So you know, with these things for problematic high pressure pumps, this is kind of my go-to thing. So we're going to start this thing up. It's going to take several cranks to get it primed, maybe. Let's see. Well, okay, that went pretty well. All right, so we're up and running. Let's just go to live data here. Go to live data. There we go. And let's get our eyeballs in to see if we've got fuel pressure readings. These things run pretty high fuel pressure, and that can vary from vehicle to vehicle. So I can't give you an exact number, but you should see around, I don't know, 600 or so, 400 to 600 at idle, and around 15 to 2 under load. 2,000 psi on the high side, around 60 on the low, 65, 70 on the low. That's what's feeding that pump. It's maxi scan 900 Slow. Gosh, it's so slow. But it does a good job. But man, is it slow deciding when it wants to do whatever. We're going to find fuel pressure. This is the low side. That's not bad. Let's see. That's the low side. Like I say, around 65 or 70, it should. Let's see what happens when we throttle into it up here. This number here. Little low. But we'll see here. Where are we at on the? I think it's supposed to be 6. I have to look that up. I could be telling you something wrong. Fuel pressure high side, almost at 4. That's about right. That looks good. I'm not driving it up the road, but those are the two numbers here. Well, we're going to have to run it a few drive cycles, but basically this gives you an idea of how to change that pump if you suspect it being bad. And this problem, by the way, let me flip the camera around right quick so you can see this problem by the customer's description is very, very, very random. I've had the car for a while and drove it quite a bit. It's never stalled with me. It hasn't done anything. The only code I get is something related to that fuel pressure sensor on that high pressure pump. It's kind of why I'm throwing a part at it, because I've got a lot of time in just driving this thing with no avail. Can't get it to shut off. He said it just doesn't do it very often, but when it does, and it usually starts right back up. But when you come up to a stop sign, the vehicle will kind of surge a little bit, and then it falls on its face, shuts down. And they're able to restart the vehicle immediately and drive on down the road. And he was just concerned that this problem would get worse and would leave him and his family stranded. So, unfortunately, sometimes problems like this, you have to kind of throw a part at it and say, look, run it, drive it, see what it does. You know, if it doesn't shut off anymore, we've got it nailed down. If it does, then we'll have to move on to something else. It's an unfortunate matter with some of these things, because you can spend a week driving a vehicle and never do it, and they'll get in it and go 10 minutes up the road with them, and it's like, hey, shut off. I'm like, that's the beauties of being an auto technician and actually having to deal with these kind of intermittent problems. I had a hiccup. Whew. All right, thank you guys for watching. Wish me good fortune on this. Thank you guys. We'll fix the team and we're out.